Y'all ever heard that quote where it's like a man has two lives and the second one begins when he realizes he only has one? I've always found it kind of corny, honestly, but the more I think about it, the more true it is. And that goes for a lot of sayings that I've always thought were corny, that I've heard growing up, resuscitated by all these people, all these famous gurus. But typically, a lot of the corny ones are actually the truest ones, and if you really apply it to your life, it can be pretty game changing. That one specifically is game changing for me. And I spent so long wasting away my life. And I didn't really realize that it was up to me to make the decision to change. It was up to me to go out and chase what I wanted. I thought that things were going to be handed to me, not in the way that I ever would have admitted. I never would have told somebody I expect things to be handed to me. But deep down, I didn't have that ambition to go after anything, really. I think it died at some point when I got to college. I was always pretty smart, growing up. I was the fourth highest GPA in our class of 750 kids. I thought that would translate to me being successful later on in life. It could, I guess, still do that potentially, but it made me lose ambition because I was smart, but I didn't really apply that to anything. I had good grades and all, but I never really chased after anything with my smarts, right? The fallacy of waiting is that you want to make sure that you are smart before you start anything. You want to make sure that you know everything there is to know before you start, right? At least that's how it was for me. When I first started posting on social media, I was nervous to do it because I didn't know really how Instagram worked. I didn't know how to post good content. I didn't know what people wanted to see, and I certainly didn't know what people would think about it. So I continued to watch a bunch of YouTube videos, and I told myself I will post when I'm ready, especially regarding my physique. Well, I wanted to post fitness content for years because I've obviously been super into the gym throughout this whole time period, but I kept telling myself, stay down till you're up kind of thing, right? I thought I wasn't big enough, maybe wasn't knowledgeable enough to start posting, to start getting my name out there. I felt embarrassed to do it because I thought I was unqualified. And that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I know a lot of people who are just like that. They're scared to start because they think they're not ready yet. They're not qualified. They're not smart enough, blah, blah, blah. Everybody thinks that. We all undervalue ourselves. We all underestimate how important we are. The fallacy of waiting is that you never are going to think you're ready. You're never going to think you're smart enough to start. You're never going to think you're qualified enough. And for me, I was never going to think I have enough muscle to start posting fitness content. And I think it's why a lot of people are held back and why, honestly, I waited till 2025 to start posting content, and I really wish I wouldn't have. It's one of my biggest regrets. Deep down, I've wanted to do this since high school. I could have started in 2022. Imagine how much farther along in my journey I would be if I had started back then. That's neither here nor there. I can't control that anymore. All I can do is focus on today, and that's what I will do. But that just goes to show that the longer you wait, the more you're going to regret it. And you think right now that you're not ready to start. You're not qualified enough to go do that thing. But you aren't going to get qualified by waiting. The only way that you're going to become smart enough to take action is by starting. And you learn from getting that experience. You learn from going along the journey and failing over and over and over again. And that's why a lot of people don't want to start yet, because they know they're going to fail and they're scared of it. But you can't be scared of it. You have to embrace it. You have to embrace failure because it's going to happen. There's no reason to be scared of it. There's no reason to try to run from it. It will happen to you. You are going to fail. You are going to mess up. You're going to screw up. And that's how you learn. You can watch all the YouTube videos in the world beforehand. You can do all the research, but none of that's going to teach you like failing is. That's something that I finally realized as of this year when I started posting. I thought I could do all the research and figure out all the methods and become qualified before I ever started, but it just sadly does not work that way. Eventually I did work up the courage to start. It was immediately a huge shift in my mindset, right? And once I started, I never wanted to stop. I never wanted to look back again. And I started to learn actually the stuff that I thought I could learn before I started, but it was never the case. You're not going to learn from waiting around, and you shouldn't expect to. And I think that a lot of us just tell ourselves that as cope, because it is a fallacy, and I think most of us know deep down that experience is the best teacher. It can teach you way more than YouTube can. It can teach you way more than the internet is ever going to teach you. All of us have aspirations to be more than we are right now. I don't think anybody watching this video right now is satisfied with who they are as a person, where they're at in their life. If you are, That's amazing. I hope to reach that point someday. For the other 100% of us watching this video, you got to just start. You got to get over it. And it's easy to say. It's easy for me to sit here and say. It's so much harder to put into practice and do in reality than it is to sit here at my desk and tell you to start. But I did do it. I did do it in reality. I started posting on social media, and it was incredibly terrifying, honestly, because I didn't have any posts for 2 years. I didn't know how they were going to react when out of the blue I just started posting fitness content and stuff like that. And honestly, most of them didn't care. People don't care as much as you think. And that's another thing that you will learn once you start. A lot of us worry way too much about what everyone else is going to think about them. But that's no way to live life, honestly. And I think you know that deep down, they don't care as much as you anticipate, right? I thought all of my friends were going to make fun of me when I started posting. I thought that all the people that I knew from high school were going to talk shit. And as far as I know, most of them did not. And even if they did, I don't really care. Once you can learn that these kids that you used to know back in high school, why the fuck would you care about their opinion? Everything in your life is on the other side of not giving a fuck about everyone else's opinion. Everyone who's ever done anything, everyone who's ever made a name for themselves, I promise you, people didn't know what they were doing in the start. People probably talk shit all the time to them in the start. Like, you never can make it without first being the guy who's trying to make it and hasn't yet. As embarrassing as it might seem, it's something that everyone's got to go through before they can become successful. And the thing is, if you are still just you right now, how many people are really going to see it? How many people are really going to know what you're doing? Not that many. Because if it doesn't work out, then nobody knows. But if it does work out, everyone will know, but it will have worked out. So there you go. You've got all your aura back that you're afraid of losing. The way that I looked at it in the beginning is that it was terrifying to be the guy trying to start a business, trying to grow their social media, but hasn't done it yet. And even now, it still feels like I'm kind of that guy trying to grow a business, trying to grow a social media, but I'm not incredibly successful like I want to be yet. But eventually, you just lose that feeling of giving a fuck what everyone says. And that's a point that everyone should be at. You got to become someone who doesn't care what everyone else thinks. That's the only way you can be free from their mind. That's the only way you can break free and not be enslaved to other people's opinions. Like I said, it's easy for me to sit here and say, it's harder to actually do. There will come a time in your life where that switch just flips and you realize that you can't keep living for other people's opinion. You can't keep living to please everyone else's vision of you. You can't keep living another person's version of your life. And once you realize that, you'll become free. And so for me, really the only thing that held me back for so long from chasing my dreams was worrying about what everyone else would think. And this goes for way more than just starting my business and starting my social media. This goes for me starting out in the gym. I was worried about what the other people at the gym would think. I was worried that people would see me lifting lightweight or having bad form and they would be like, get a load of this guy, right? That's what we all think. Everyone's going to be watching us. Everyone's going to mock us. Everyone's going to make fun of us because we don't know what we're doing, but it's just a natural part of life. In reality, people don't give a shit what you're doing. The people at the gym that see you with bad form, that see you not lifting a lot of weight, if they care at all, they're going to come up and help you, or they're going to be supportive, or they're going to be happy that you're making the choice to better your life. And it's kind of the same way for all of my friends when I started posting. Even though I thought they would talk shit about me, they were supportive. Most of them understood what I was doing, and they saw the vision. I'm very grateful to have friends like that were supportive of me and that saw what I was trying to do, and so they didn't talk shit. They encouraged me, and they knew what a big step it was for me to take to make that leap and start. Ideally, everyone should have a support system like that is going to encourage them and reinforce their decisions, right? You might have that, or you might not, but you're never going to know until you start. And that's just how it is for everything. You're never going to know until you start. And you got to decide if you want to live a life of never knowing, or if you want to live that life that you've dreamed of since high school, like I did. There was nothing stopping me from living that life the whole time, except my fear of other people's opinions. And ultimately, that's what held me back until it didn't. And that's what's going to hold you back until it doesn't. And once that switch flips in your brain, where you turn off the giving a fuck mode, you'll be ready to become great. You'll be ready to do everything you've ever set out to do. And that's what I want for y'all. So thank y'all for watching. Subscribe, like, all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram. But yeah, thank y'all.